Welcome to Women Finding Clarity, the podcast that ignites your inner power and guides you on a journey to uncover the boundless potential of the universe in life and in business. I'm Pascale Cook-Fernandez, your host and life transformation coach. Join me each week as we align our energies, elevate our businesses, and thrive in every aspect of life. In each episode, we dive deep into topics like the secrets of raising your vibration, crafting irresistible offers, and amplifying your impact. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, this podcast is your compass to navigate the realms of limitless success. If you are ready to align your energy, elevate your business, and truly thrive, subscribe to Women Finding Clarity now and get ready to embark on a life-changing journey. Until next time, stay empowered and keep seeking clarity. And remember, the universe is abundant and success is your birthright. Let's align, elevate, and thrive together, one conversation at a time. Hello, and welcome to Women Finding Clarity. I'm your host, Pascale Cook-Fernandez. I wanted to start out this evening by talking about perfectionism because, let's face it, unless you're Mary Poppins, you are not perfectly perfect in every way, and neither am I. And that's okay. There is no such thing as perfect in a human experience. So why then do we try so hard to be perfect? Why do we not show up or are unwilling to be seen unless we look perfect? How comfortable are you to show up on video or to have your picture taken? When the camera comes out, is your first reaction to smile and strike a silly pose? Or is it to fix your hair and adjust your stance? Does your mind immediately think things like, I'm too fat, so I'll stand behind someone else? Or maybe you have to be sure you're striking the perfect pose with your hips at a 45-degree angle and your upper body facing front. Oh, and don't forget to pop out that leg. Oh wait, should both hands be on my hips or just one hand? These are all examples of perfectionism, and it's so much more common than you might think. It makes us miss life experiences because, again, there is no such thing as perfect in a human existence. And there is no such thing as perfect in your business. That's why I like to talk to my clients about the idea of progress rather than perfection. Instead of practice makes perfect, my motto is practice makes progress, which aligns with principles of growth mindset, continuous improvement, and resilience. Doesn't that feel so much better? Practice makes progress. The pressure is off. It allows you to be more comfortable in each present moment, and it gives you so much more to celebrate along the way. And who doesn't love to feel accomplished and celebrate? My guest this evening is no stranger to celebrating progress instead of striving for perfectionism. My guest this evening is Lisa Dooley. Lisa is an organizing coach, a member of the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, founder of Your Organized Life, a professional organizing company, author of More Space, More Time, More Joy, Organizing Your Best Life, and motivational speaker and change agent. To help people spend their time more wisely, organizing coach Lisa Dooley has uncovered the true secret to organization. Real change is internal. Lisa doesn't rely on bins, matching folders, or alphabetizing. To her, these tools are meaningless unless people see their organizing challenges and themselves differently. For most, the root of disorganization is a misuse of space and time. This can be for both individuals as well as organizations. Whether at work or home, changes often cause organizing systems that once worked to fall apart. When disorganization takes hold, stress about it starts to build and people can become overwhelmed. The effect over time is frustration, low-grade unhappiness, and even dissatisfaction with their work and/or their home lives. Lisa helps individuals, households, companies, and their employees break the cycle of disorganization by designing a vision of what they want their life and their space to be. Then declutter and de-stress so they can enjoy their life at home and at work. We need time. We need to shift from being unable to enjoy our space, our work, our lives, to seeing our homes as places of calm, rejuvenation, and productivity, explains Lisa. Lisa's debut book, More Space, More Time, More Joy, Organizing Your Best Life, guides the process of change that will allow readers to intentionally create their best life through organization. Without further ado, welcome Lisa Dooley. Lisa Dooley, welcome to Women Finding Clarity.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm very happy to have you here. And I know I told you this when we've spoken previously, but my introduction to you was from the South Shore Conference for Women, and you had a raffle on your table that I dropped my business card in, and darn if I didn't win your book. So that was my introduction to you. And so I've talked about you on the podcast before. And so it means a lot to have you here now, live and in person.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the book is such an interesting thing. It was such a great opportunity to just share the knowledge, right? We've had this conversation before about one of the things that I think is really my role with my clients and in the work that I do is just to keep people connected, right? To be that person that can refer someone however it's going to help them, right? That's really what I'm here to do. I'm here to help people find this more space, more time, and more joy in their lives. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to connect you with any listener who's like, I need more Lisa Dooley in my life, in whatever form that happens to turn out to be.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about how your organized life, your business, kind of interweaves with women finding clarity and how we can bring in your wisdom for the women who are creating their own businesses.
So I think it's so interesting. So my business, I've been doing this for a really long time now, and I think what I've seen really is a progression of trying to understand what value I can bring aside from sort of the physical piece, right? So when we talk about clutter, we talk about all these things that are in our way. I always say to clients, clutter is it's physical, it's emotional, it's psychological. It's anything, my definition, if you will, is anything that holds us back from living the life that we want to live. And especially as women, we are conditioned to be certain things. And I think when we let go of that clutter, again, physical, emotional, psychological, we can create the life that we want. It's the business that we want. We can say yes, yes, and right. It's much more of the opening up opportunities and not keeping ourselves isolated, because that's the thing about clutter. Clutter is very isolating, especially physical clutter and emotional and psychological clutter. It keeps us from expanding, right, to spreading our wings and doing the things that we want to do. So I think that's super important when I work with my clients to say, let's clear out those things that are holding you back so that you can do the things that you want to do.
So powerful. So powerful. Really, that mindset piece comes in for me as I was listening to you talk. That's a big overlap right there. That I can work with my clients to polish up their story. I can work with my clients to lay out the steps in their program. But really, the biggest piece is working on the mindset. And I love the idea of calling it clutter because it's the stories that we've been told over and over and over again. And it's the expectations and the pressures we put on ourselves that maybe other people put on us. All of that really is clutter.
Yeah. And I think too that one of the things I consistently hear from my clients is I'll say, why are you keeping this? It could be something physical, it could be a habit, it could be a financial plan. Why are you keeping this? And to which oftentimes their reply is, don't I have to? Right? Or the expectation is that when my mom gave me this china, that I would use it, or when my Nana gave me this hutch, that I had to keep it. And I always say to my client, today you get to make these decisions, right? These decisions really are yours. And when we hold too tightly onto things, again, it could be a mindset, something physical, we really create impediments to our own success. I like to tell the story of this client early on in my career, and we were working sort of in, let's call it our mudroom and kitchen space. And she had a back room, which was her laundry room, and she had a little gate. And every time she went into this laundry room, she would step over the gate every single time. And I don't think she even saw it. So I asked her, what's up with the gate? Tell me the story of the gate. And she said, oh, when my daughter, I didn't want her in here because this is my laundry room, and there are chemicals in here, and I didn't want her running back and forth, as a child, and going into that space. And I said, well, how old is your child now? And she said 7. And so I think that's the thing, is we create these processes, and we create these situations for ourselves, and we create the workarounds to make them work. And we rarely stop and think, you know what? I don't need this anymore. Is there a better way to do it? And I know, as you've probably found with your clients, my clients have been looking at the situation for so long, they cannot see the forest through the trees. My role, one of my roles, is to say, let's look at this with some fresh eyes, and let's kind of figure out how we can take this. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but we're helping you to move forward to this new version of you. And I think that can be very, very powerful. That's really why I do what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. The extreme is like a hoarding situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even before anything were to get to that point, how many of us, and I'm raising my hand here too, how many of us would love to have people over, but we don't feel like our house is nice enough, or our house is clean enough,
Mm-hmm.
or we're organized enough? How many of us get more work done in the half hour before someone's coming over than we get done in the house in a month,
Yeah. And I
right?
think that's part of a limiting belief, that I am not enough, that my home is not perfect enough. And I think one of the things I always say to clients is, what version of you are we looking for? What's your goal here, right? The goal is the most important thing. And so you've probably heard this or read Simon Sinek's book, Start with Why. Okay, so Simon Sinek, I was introduced to him when he did his TED Talk. And then I read his book, and I talk about it in my book, how powerful that is, because your goal and your why you're getting organized, why you're, figuring out a new filing system to get ready for your taxes, why you're, eating more healthily and moving your body more, or why you're, creating a new financial plan or clearing out the basement. Your why is what motivates you, right? It's what's going to keep you coming back when it gets boring and when it gets hard and when it gets messy. It's your why. So I always say to clients, what's your goal? What are we trying to get back to here? What version of you? Is it a past version? Lots of us hold on to past versions of ourselves. Sometimes it's a different you, right? So when we understand what our goals are, then we can create that framework and take those baby steps, because organizing is a process, not an event. It's not a one-time, we don't come in for a 4 or 5 hour session and all of a sudden you're organized. I wish I had my magic wand. I wish I could do that for my clients, but it's a process, as you find with your clients.
Yeah. And the more, it's like layers of an onion, isn't it? The more you
Mm-hmm.
find out, the more there is to find out.
Yeah. And again, a client will say, the reason I can't get out of the house, what's your number one stressor, right? What's the thing that holds you back on a daily basis? And I'll say, well, I can't get out of my mudroom, or I can't, have breakfast on the table. So we kind of peel that back, peel the layers back. And then we find out, well, the real sticking point is that your closet is non-functioning, and you spend 45 minutes trying to find something to wear. Or same with, if you have littles, or it's not really, it's not that piece. So by working and understanding, where do you want to get? I want to get out of the house without with as least amount of stress. There's no such thing as no stress, least amount of stress possible. Let's figure out where those roadblocks are, right? What literal, sometimes it's a physical roadblock you have put in place, or it's a mental one, or it's something else. So we want to come back to, what's your goal, and then we have to break that process apart to figure out what is holding you back. And that's where the magic is. That's really where the magic is.
When you see someone's face light up and have that quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote aha moment where, they just realize it can be different. And this is the thing that's going to make all the difference. And it's not like the thing that's going to make all the difference is like, I like how you said it, it's a process, not an event, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just having that realization isn't suddenly going to make their life perfect. Again, there's no such thing as perfect, but it's a great place to start.
Yeah. And I think it's that starting point. One I always say to my clients is this situation, this, clutter or whatever, didn't happen overnight. And we're not going to fix it overnight. But what we're going to do is we are going to together, that's why my company is called Your Organized Life, together figure out how to get you the supports, the scaffolding, as we like to say, that's going to get you to that next point. And sometimes it is working with an organizer. Sometimes it's also working with a life coach. Love my life coach. It's getting a financial advisor in place. It's understanding where we need support. And I always say this because my mother had a wonderful phrase, which was to the effect of one competency does not necessarily add to another competency. Or, as my mother would say, God doesn't give with both hands. God doesn't give with both hands, which is such a wonderful phrase. And basically, it is I work with the most talented and amazing clients. They are healthcare professionals and they're financial executives and they are realtors. They are amazing. This just isn't their strong suit, right? So by bringing in the support that you need, you can create what you want. It takes effort, it takes persistence, and it takes you going back over and over to your goals. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, two organizers talking. So talk about drinking the Kool-Aid. Two organizers talking about how to not chase the new thing in tech, which is really important, especially when we talk about our tech-driven world. And the organizer said, keep coming back to your home base. And I thought, wow, that's a wonderful expression, right? So when you keep coming back to your home base and understanding there's a lot of distractions out there, but I know what I want, I understand what my goals are, and I'm going to keep at it. And be kind to yourself along the way. Be kind to yourself, because we are so hard on ourselves. When we clutter builds up, or we stop eating well, or intentionally we beat ourselves up, and we throw in the towel and say, I can't do this. You can do it, but it does take time and effort, and that's why we're here, right? We're here to support our clients.
Yes. Your mama was so wise, and I love that so much. Be kind is one of Women Finding Clarity's core values, right? Lead with kindness. And so
Mm-hmm.
I love what you were just saying about that, because there's so much shame around not having it all figured out. There's so much shame around, okay, well, I'm really good at this, so why can't I do this? And as you were saying, God doesn't give with both hands. It's You're allowed to be really good at this, and it's also okay to need some help with this. And what you're doing with this conversation is just normalizing the fact that we don't have to be a jack of all trades. We can do what lights us up, we can do what we're best at, and at the same time, ask for help for the things that maybe aren't our strong suit.
Yeah, and that's so important. And one of the things I say to my clients, one of the things I hear repeatedly from my clients is, I don't know why I can't do this myself. I don't know, and I'm so embarrassed that my house is so disorganized, or I don't understand why I can't do this by myself. And I honestly do believe that just because we can do something doesn't mean that we should do something, right? And that is a really powerful statement. Sure, you can probably file your own taxes. Should you? You can, clean your own house. But should you? If some doing something else, and you can afford to have those services, and you can afford, it is what you prioritize, right? It's what you prioritize. Early on in my business, I created my own website. horrible. It was mostly just a landing page. I cannot even tell you the dozens of hours that I spent working on that. And once I finally figured out I need to stop doing these tasks that A, to use your phrase, do not light me up, and B, they're not in my wheelhouse. I can't, sure, can I do them? Sure, I can, but I would way rather bring in a marketing expert and a web person and a tech person to support me so that I can go out and work with my clients, because that is what lights me up. And it allows me to do the other things in my life. It allows me to expand who I am and to be the best version of me. And again, you probably hear this with your clients. It's this feeling that we are not enough, that we are not everything, because social media has led us to believe that we are supposed, that the model is we are fit, physically fit, and we are wealthy, and we are gourmet cooks, and we are the best partner and parent and pickleballer and friend. We are all of these things, right?
Yes.
And that is so, we are doing ourselves such a disservice because we are putting so much pressure on ourselves. The first thing I say to my clients when I walk in, they say, I bet you've never seen anything like this. I said, first of all, you have no idea the things that I've seen. And I have no judgment. Our role as organizers and life coaches is to support you. We're not here to judge you. We're here to support you, right? And I think when we let go of a lot of that, we can understand, let's look at what your goals are. Let's get you back to home base, and let's figure out how to move this forward. You don't need my permission, but if you need my support, then I'm here to give it.
So well said. As a coach, I always say I'm not a fixer, I'm a facilitator. I facilitate
Mm-hmm.
growth. And it was the same when I was a massage therapist, and it was the same as a Reiki master. I would never promise this to someone that I was going to fix them. Absolutely not. All I'm doing is facilitating the space to allow the healing.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what you do too. You hold the space
mm-hmm.
to allow the healing. And, you, from what I know about you and from listening to you talk, really what you're doing is creating safety. You're making it okay for someone to show up who they are in whatever form they're showing up. And you are holding space to facilitate the change, to allow the change to happen. And as a facilitator, it is asking the questions like, what is the goal? Tell me about the gate, because it maybe lights up a different part of someone's mind that maybe they weren't thinking of anymore. They've just blocked it all out.
Well, and I think when we talk about how we facilitate, I meet people all the time, right? So you meet someone at a party or in a conversation, they say, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm a professional organizer. And they say, can you organize me? And I say, no, but I can help you get organized. And that is a very intuitive process, right? And so there is no one size fits all. For some people, they like baskets. For some people, they like bins. For some people, it's here's a cardboard box that we've written on with Sharpie, and that's your storage solution. So I am always leery when I hear people say, you must do it this way, or you must do it that way, because it's intuitive. And what works for me as an empty nester in a small home is not what's going to work for a young family in a bigger space with a bunch of littles running around. So I think that when we are realistic, and that's, I think, also a lot what our clients are looking for is a sounding board. Can I get rid of this? Okay, you're asking me permission. You need to give yourself permission to do this. Are you asking me what to do with it, where to donate it? Sure, I can help you with that. Are you asking me if this is valuable for you to hold on to in scenario X? Sure, I'll walk you through that. But I think we have become so dependent on what others see us and how others view us that we hold on to things so very tightly. And that is a fear thing. That is a scarcity mentality. I hold on to this because Maybe someday I am going to need a cut crystal punch bowl with 8 crystal cups. Then I say to my clients, wow, please be sure to invite me to the garden party where you use this, right? And I think it's this idealized version of ourselves that we think we're going to be living. I I don't espouse that that's really, just because you have space to keep something doesn't mean that you should. And you really have to be much more realistic about that.
Yeah. I love how you connect all of that to keeping mementos from loved ones who have passed on. Because when my mom passed away, that was a
Mm.
challenging thing to tackle. She grew up really not having much of anything. And so she kept everything,
Mm-hmm.
and not in a hoarding kind of way. She was so organized about it. She was so like her clothes were organized by season and but the sheer volume of clothing, right? She had a little box that had buttons in it that probably went to something, but whatever. Or maybe, I don't know, she had everything. She kept everything in an organized fashion. Whatever you needed, she could lay her hands on it. She kept the house very clean and tidy. Like she was just, and so a lot of that we do bring with us
Mm-hmm.
from the story of our past. And at the same time, it's not the next person's responsibility to keep all of the things. And really, something that someone said to me once was, how are you honoring this thing that you're keeping? Well, I'm not. It's in a box in my closet right now. Well, then why are you keeping it? Because if you're not honoring the person by keeping the thing and displaying it and really showing reverence to the person through the thing that you kept, why are you keeping it? Well, because I feel bad throwing it away.
Mm. And I think that that's such a powerful point. I appreciate your sharing that story about your mom, because a lot of us have been in that situation. We have loved ones, family members, friends that have passed, and we feel um, guilt about not loving those items the same way that they did. The reality is, though, is that our lives are very, very different. And when my clients say, when I say, well, why are you holding on to the dining room table? Why are you holding on to the china? Why are you holding on to this? They always look at me and I say, my kids are going to want that. Now, I hate to be the one to tell you this. Your kids do
Yeah.
not want that, because their lives are very different. The average person moved, of our generation, if you will, probably half a dozen times in their lives. Our parents' generation, I know people that have lived in their homes 30, 40, 50, 60 years. This next generation, the Gen X's, the Gen Ys, they will move 20 plus times in their lives, and they do not want your brown furniture. They do not want the china. And it's not that they don't appreciate it, it does not fit into their lives. And when we give a gift, we give a gift with an open hand, right? We give a gift with an open hand. And when your parent or your loved one or your friend gives you something, that's the way we have to both give and receive. Because when we have something, is it a gift or is it a burden? Because if there's a huge amount of energy that goes into holding on to things. It's psychic energy, it's it's financial energy, because I can't tell you how many storage units that I have seen full of stuff that people have inherited and don't have room for and don't know what to do with. So we're spending all this energy, our life energy, our literal being, trying to figure out what to do with stuff that we just do not have literally physical space for in our lives. And I think when we really want to honor a gift or something that has been gifted down to us, find someone who can use it. I have friends that volunteer for the St. Vincent de Paul, and I was having this conversation right with them, and they said, when someone moves, Lisa, connect them with us, because we will take the furniture for people in transitional housing, we will take their appliances, we will take all of those things, and then they're used and they're loved and they're appreciated. And gosh, isn't that what really the people that gave us those things would want? They don't want it sitting in our basement. They want to know that it's used and loved, and ideally with us, if not with someone that can appreciate it. And I think that's the greatest gift we can really give or receive.
Hmm. I'm just sitting here soaking in all the goodness that you're giving to all of us. It's just all so beautiful. I want to bring it back to businesses.
Mhm.
And I want to talk a little bit about, I think that there are a lot of people that I've spoken with who have too many Google file folders. They have too many
Mhm.
physical file folders. Their desktop is covered physically and their computer desktop is covered in folders. So much so that they can't always just lay their hands on what they're looking for. I mean, how do you even begin to tackle that for someone in business who has over organization, I'm going to call it?
Mhm. That's a good question. And I think that, like physical workarounds or impediments that we have created for ourselves, we've also created them, I'm going to say digitally. And when I see clients' inboxes that have thousands, thousands of emails, and I say, tell me about the 1,000 emails in your inbox. I don't want to lose anything. I don't want to lose anything. And that's our biggest fear, is that we're going to lose it. And I said, well, how do you find things? Well, I just, search, put it in the search bar. Of course, the biggest fear is, God forbid, that thing crashes, then you really have lost everything. But to answer the question about how do you organize digitally, it's this, imagine that it's the same as if you had paper files, or as organizers like to say, a home. We want a home for everything. So one of the things I do with a lot of my clients when we're talking about productivity is to really sit down and understand what are the categories that we're dealing with here, right? We break things into categories. That's what we do. And so all of these files relate to my podcast, and all of these files relate to my business clients, and all of these emails or files relate to the running of my business, the financial or the other pieces of my business. This is my home, this is my family, these are my community, and breaking it down like that, just creating a file folder. And as things come in into your inbox, drag them out. I'm not saying get rid of them. Some things obviously we can delete, but to really take them from this cluttered pile, this literally a jumble, and just move them into. So my husband and I were dealing with this insurance issue, and he said, I can't find the emails related to the thing. And I said, well, go to the property. There's a file that has the property address on it. Go in there. Anything related to that lives there. So there are systems that we can create. Again, to your point, do not complicate it all that much. You don't necessarily have to have subfolders. You can, sure, if that makes you feel good. Anything that works for you, go for it, but be careful of the pile, and then the file piles, as we like to call them, and then breaking it too minutely, because then it's going to be, oh, did I put it under, property name, insurance, auto, or did I put it on a property name, insurance, homeowner? So I think, know how you work. That goes back to the intuitive piece. How does it work for you? And that's how you work with a client, is to kind of break it out based on what's going to work for them. And it's, how risk adverse are you? So with the digital piece, we want to really understand how it works for you and how it can work better.
Yeah, that's so great. And I feel like most times when we think about an organizer, getting the help of a professional organizer, we think about our physical clutter,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't think about our digital clutter, beyond the scope of our psychological, our spiritual, our mental, all of that. But I love that you said not to overcomplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, to put that in perspective, if someone gets a really terrible diagnosis, it doesn't matter what else is on their calendar or what else, it doesn't matter. Everything comes into quick focus
Mm-hmm.
because everything very quickly becomes less complicated. It's only about doing the things that's going to save your life.
Yeah. So I always say that the origin of the Greek word crisis is a Greek word, and it means to sift. Great, it's good to know. And basically, when you're in crisis, yourself, someone you love, someone close to you, you are sifting out, to your point, you are sifting out all of those things that you thought were so very important are no longer important. And what organization, or the way I see organization, is it's not about boxes and bins. It's not about complicated filing systems. It's not about making your home Instagram or Pinterest worthy. It's about creating systems that work for you, because when things get crazy, when things get busy, you have a system to fall back on. And that's really what we're looking for. I know how to handle, I know where the medical stuff is. I know where the financial stuff is. I know where the physical stuff is. And that's it. How it's stored, what it looks like, that is so secondary. And I think that's the piece that we again get bogged down in. Is I always say that organizing is about finding your stuff when you need it, so you can go out and do the really important things. And when we let go again of this expectation that things have to look a certain way or be a certain way, we really let ourselves grow and do better and let go of all that stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that's weighing us down.
True clarity, I feel, is finding the joy in everything
Mm-hmm.
or in most things, right? True clarity is the silver linings. True clarity is your purpose. True clarity is, where do I get the most joy and where can I give the most joy? Where can I give the most love and receive the most love? All of those things to me are true clarity. And I just feel so in resonance with everything that you're saying, because that's what it all feels like. What you're doing is you're creating a more joyful life. Someone can have better quality of life through the facilitation of a more organized life.
I appreciate your saying that, because I've always said to my clients, my role here, or what I would like to help you get to, is a place where you feel, when I leave, my clients always say to me, I feel 20 pounds lighter. I feel 20 pounds lighter. And it is because we have worked to let go of all of those things. Sometimes it is physical things, but sometimes it is limiting beliefs. It is that, the average American, this is a crazy statistic, spends 40 minutes a day trying to find something that they can't have. And that's an average person. 40 minutes a day. What's that? Five and a half hours a week. I always say to my clients, what could you do with 5.5 hours a week? What could you do with that time? If you can stop the hamster wheel of, I can't find things or I can't get things done, and you can find 5.5 hours a week, what would you do with that? Connect with a friend, take a class, go to yoga, do whatever it is you want to do that's going to expand your life, as opposed to keep it really closed off. And I think that's kind of where our synergies are. And I think that's where the greatest value. Forget how your things look, but if I can help my clients achieve that, more space, more time, and more joy, then that's a success.
Mm, wrapped up with a red bow right there. You did that.
Thank you.
Amazing. So I know that you have an offer for
Mm.
listeners. So if you'd like to share that, that would be wonderful.
Oh, thank you. So I did write a book. It is called More Space, More Time, More Joy, Organizing Your Best Life. I like to think that if you're looking to figure out how to organize your closet, you can flip to that. I want to, find a calendar system that works for me. That's great too. I like to think of it as sort of an overarching idea of how to get to that more space, more time, and more joy in your life. I would love to share with your listeners a raffle for a couple of books. So I would ask that they reach out to you if you would like to be entered into the raffle, contact you, and you will give me their names. Full disclosure, I am on a little bit of a delay with shipping right now. So it would be a little bit delayed, but I would, love to share that. If you're dying to get a copy, you can get a digital copy on Amazon. You can get a physical copy on Amazon and get a copy of the ebook as well.
That's amazing. So anyone who's interested in being entered into the raffle can just email me, Pascale at womenfindingclarity.com. I'll put that email link in show notes. You can also just send me a message from womenfindingclarity.com. And I will let you know, Lisa,
Thank
stand
you.
by
Yeah.
because, I'll put all the names in a hat and let you know the winner.
Perfect. Thank you. Happy to
Yeah.
share.
No, thank you so much for offering that. It's such a wonderful bonus for listeners. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your spirit, and really your joy with
Thank
all of
you.
us.
Thanks. And again, if there's one thing for folks to take away from today and what the things that I've said is that um, decide to decide. Because the thing that really holds us back oftentimes is this inability to make a decision. We spend a lot of time, sort of going back and forth, and unless it's something about safety or about immediate health, it is okay. It is okay to make a decision. You have the power to make good decisions, and we sometimes have to trust ourselves more.
Hmm, so beautiful. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
What a great conversation. What is your biggest takeaway from my conversation with Lisa? Remember to be entered into the raffle for a free copy of Lisa's book. Simply email your name and mailing address to me at Pascale at womenfindingclarity.com before April 25th, 2024. I will post the winner of the raffle on the Women Finding Clarity Facebook page, so good luck. If you struggle with perfectionism and it's slowing down your business growth, I invite you to schedule a complimentary Biz Clarity session with me so we can break down where you're most struggling and see if we're a good fit to work together further. You'll leave your Biz Clarity session with a mini plan to get you moving forward on your path to progress over perfection. You can book your free Biz Clarity session using the link in show notes. Remember, the universe is abundant and success is your birthright. Let's align, elevate, and thrive together, one conversation at a time. Good night. Thank you for being in our Women Finding Clarity community. If you're enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite listening platform and share it with someone you know so they can find clarity from the conversation as well. Remember, the universe is abundant and success is your birthright. Let's align, elevate, and thrive together, one conversation at a time. See you next week.